Hello friends, and welcome back to our story time. Today, we have a super exciting adventure story from the Bible. It's all about a man named Jonah and a well, a very, very big fish. Are you ready to dive in? Let's go. Once upon a time, in a land far away, there lived a man named Jonah. Now, Jonah was a prophet, which means his special job was to listen to God and share his important messages with people. One day, God spoke to Jonah. He said, "Jonah, I have a very important job for you. I want you to go to the great city of Nineveh." Now, the people in Nineveh weren't making very good choices. They were often unkind to each other and didn't listen to God. God wanted to give them a chance to change their ways. So, he told Jonah, "Go to Nineveh and tell them to start being kind and loving, or their city will be in big trouble." But Jonah heard this and thought, "Oh no, not Nineveh. Those people are not my friends. I don't want to go there." Jonah was scared. He didn't think the people of Nineveh would listen to him. He thought they might be mean to him. So, what did Jonah do? Did he obey God? Nope. Jonah decided to run away. He went down to the seaport and found a big boat that was sailing to a city called Tarshish. Tarshish was in the complete opposite direction of Nineveh. Jonah thought, "Perfect. If I go far, far away, maybe God won't be able to find me." He paid the captain, hopped on the boat, and went down below deck to take a nap, thinking he had solved his problem. Silly Jonah. As the boat sailed out into the deep blue sea, everything seemed fine at first. The sun was shining. The waves were gentle. But then, something changed. Dark clouds rolled in. The wind started to howl, and the waves grew bigger and bigger, crashing against the little boat. A huge, scary storm had suddenly appeared out of nowhere. The sailors on the boat were terrified. They had sailed in many storms, but this one was different. It was the biggest, fiercest storm they had ever seen. They started throwing their cargo overboard, trying to make the boat lighter. They prayed to their own gods, but nothing worked. The storm just got worse and worse. Finally, the captain went to find Jonah, who was somehow still fast asleep down below. "Wake up!" the captain shouted. "How can you be sleeping? A terrible storm is about to sink our ship. Get up and pray to your God. Maybe he can save us." Jonah woke up and saw the crazy storm. His heart sank. He knew, deep down, that this storm was his fault. He had disobeyed God, and now everyone was in danger. He went up on the deck and told the sailors, "I know why this is happening. I am running away from the one true God, the God who made the sky, the land, and the sea. This storm is because of me." The sailors were shocked. They asked, "What should we do to make the storm stop?" Jonah knew there was only one way. It was a very brave and scary thing to say, but aside Italiano. "You have to throw me into the sea, then the storm will stop." The sailors didn't want to do it. They were good men and didn't want to throw Jonah into the raging water. They tried with all their might to row back to shore, but the storm was too strong. The waves were just too powerful. Finally, they realized Jonah was right. They said a quick prayer, asking God to forgive them. And then, 1, 2, 3, they lifted Jonah and tossed him over the side of the boat and into the wild, churning ocean. Splash, and you know what? The second Jonah hit the water, the wind stopped howling. The giant waves became calm. The storm just disappeared. The sea was peaceful again. The sailors couldn't believe their eyes. They were amazed by the power of Jonah's God. But what about Jonah? He was sinking down, 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 into the deep, dark water. He thought this was the end. He closed his eyes, thinking he would never see the sun again. But God wasn't finished with Jonah. He still had a plan for him. Just as Jonah was about to give up hope, God sent a rescuer. But it wasn't a boat or a person. It was a giant fish. This fish was bigger than any fish you have ever seen. It swam right up to Jonah, opened its huge mouth, and gulp, it swallowed him whole. Now, You might think that's the end of the story, but it's just the beginning of the next part of the adventure. Jonah wasn't hurt. He was safe and sound, but he was inside the belly of a big fish. It was dark and probably a little slimy and smelly in there. Imagine that. Jonah was in the fish's belly for 3 whole days and 3 whole nights. Can you count to 3? 1, 2, 3. That's a long time to be inside a fish. While he was in there, Jonah had a lot of time to think. He knew he had made a big mistake by running away from God. He realized that you can't run away from God because God is everywhere. From inside the fish, Jonah prayed. He didn't ask for fancy things. He just said he was sorry. He told God, "I'm sorry for disobeying you. I was scared, and I ran away. But now I know you are in charge. If you save me from this dark place, I will do whatever you ask. I promise I will go to Nineveh." Jonah finally understood that listening to God was the most important thing. God heard Jonah's prayer. He knew that Jonah was truly sorry and that he had learned his lesson. So, what did God do? He spoke to the big fish, and the fish swam all the way to the shore. Then, it opened its mouth and black. It spat Jonah right out onto a sandy beach. Jonah was a bit wet and probably very smelly, but he was so happy to be on dry land again. He took a deep breath of fresh air and thanked God for saving him. Antistim, when God spoke to him again and said, "Go to Nineveh." What do you think Jonah did? That's right. He didn't run away. He didn't make excuses. He got up and started walking straight toward the city of Nineveh. When Jonah got to the huge city, he walked through the streets and shared God's message. He shouted, "In 40 days, Nineveh will be in big trouble if you don't change your ways. Start being kind. Stop being mean." And an amazing thing happened. The people of Nineveh listened. From the king in his palace to the simplest person in the street, everyone stopped what they were doing. They were sorry for the bad choices they had made. They started praying to God and promised to be good to each other from then on. When God saw that the people of Nineveh had changed their hearts and were trying to be better, he was very happy. He showed them his great love and mercy, and he didn't let their city get into trouble. Jonah's story teaches us something really important. It shows us that God is a God of second chances. He forgave Jonah for running away, and he forgave the people of Nineveh for their mistakes. It also teaches us that we should always try to listen to God and obey him, even when it seems hard or scary, because he always knows what's best. And no matter where you go, you can never run away from God's love. What a great story. It had a runaway prophet, a giant storm, and a huge fish. I hope you liked it. It just goes to show that even when we make mistakes, God still loves us and has a wonderful plan for our lives. Thanks so much for listening. Everyone, I can't wait to share another story with you next time. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss our next adventure. See you soon. Bye.